Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Wednesday morning Facebook Live here at Briggs Health. I'm Jennifer Briggs, licensed acupuncturist. And today I wanted to talk for a quick minute about how you can enjoy bitter foods. Now, bitter foods are something that, some people taste them really, really strongly. These people are called super tasters, and you can actually tell if you're a super taster by putting a little bit of blue, um, or they recommend blue food coloring on your tongue, and then you take a piece of paper with a hole punched in it, like a regular hole punch, like in a piece of notebook paper, and you put that over your tongue so that the hole is over the blue area, and you count the number of taste buds that you can see inside that hole. So if you have over 30 taste buds in a little, hole punch size area of your tongue, it means you're a super taster. And what happens if you're a super taster is that food tastes more intense to you than it does to other people. And one of the effects of this is that super tight tasters tend to be very picky eaters. And they tend to gravitate towards sweet food rather than all of the other flavors of food, like sour or bitter, because it's just too intense for them. Now, what this means is in practice is often that people who are super tasters really don't eat a lot of green vegetables. They don't like the taste of broccoli or kale. Some of them I think would rather die than have that concentrated bitter flavor in their mouths. So what can people like this do if you don't like if you taste the bitter taste very strongly, or if you just don't like the bitter taste, what can you do? We know that we need to eat vegetables to be healthy. And if the flavor of the vegetables is what's putting us off, what can we do? The alkaloids in the food that create the bitter flavor are broken down by an enzyme in our saliva. And if you don't eat anything that's bitter, then you don't have any of this enzyme to break down the bitter alkaloids. So it becomes a kind of a self-fulfilling cycle, a vicious cycle. And where you don't have the enzyme, and so the food tastes extra bitter, and you avoid it, and you still don't have the enzyme, so the food still tastes really, really bitter. But the enzyme will build up in your saliva if you eat bitter foods. Okay, so there are several ways to kind of ingest the bitter foods to start creating, so that enzyme can start building up in your saliva without just having it be awful. So one thing that is widely recommended to kind of, it doesn't 100%, it doesn't take away the bitter flavor, but it will help soften it. One thing that you can do is add either fat or salt or both to your vegetables. Okay. So for someone who has none of that enzyme in their saliva, you might need to actually add kind of a lot of fat. It could be butter, could be olive oil, and salt. You might need kind of a lot, especially at first, but that's fine, especially if you are doing this with an eye toward eventually kind of easing off on the fat and salt, because the bitter flavor is not as strong. Because those vegetables, the kale and the broccoli, will become less bitter over time. You'll taste it less bitter because you have the enzyme. Now, the other thing that you can do is I found this one time and I've looked for it since and I can't find it, but Another way to build up this bitter enzyme in your saliva is to use unsweetened chocolate and milk. So powdered chocolate that has no sweeteners in it. It's like, so if you taste it, it tastes extra, extra bitter. Okay. But you take a glass of milk, and every day you drink a glass of milk. And the first day you put like half of a tablespoon of the unsweetened chocolate into it and stir it in, and you drink it. And then the second day you put in like maybe 1 tablespoon of the bitter chocolate into the glass of milk, stir it up and drink it, and gradually increase it until you can have, maybe 3 or 4 tablespoons of this bitter chocolate. And it's doing the same thing, and it's actually doing it in the same way by hiding it inside of fat. Um, as this natural sweetness of the milk will tone down the bitter taste of the chocolate. So those are my suggestions. If you are one of those people who, doesn't like the bitter taste, doesn't like to eat the vegetables, you can actually build up that enzyme in your saliva, and then they really don't taste bad at all. I've gotten to the point because I've been on a mainly ketogenic diet recently, and don't eat a lot of vegetables, and I definitely don't eat any like refined carbs or anything like that. But I've gotten to the point where I must have enough of the enzyme that Brussels sprouts actually taste sweet to me. Um, so, excuse me. So that is my suggestion. And if you have questions about that, or if you want to email me to ask questions, I'm going to give you a new email address. It's nutritionrevolutionsystem@gmail.com. This is an email that is going to be connected to a new program that I'm doing, that I'm putting out. I keep thinking, oh, it's just around the corner, and it really is. And but there still is a little bit of work that I need to do to get that up. But you can look for us on Facebook too, Nutrition Revolution System. Or no, wait, I'm sorry. On Facebook, it's just Nutrition Revolution with an exclamation point afterward. But I'll be putting more information about this on my Facebook page. So yeah, email if you have questions about what I've talked about today, or anything else regarding diet, or food issues that you might be having. So anyway, I hope everybody has a great day, and thanks for tuning in. See you next week.